an LCD. And mechanically, it's kind of up to you to do that, obviously, but is there support for it with the P-ROC and the software? Again, since you're using a computer to do these things, you could just hook up an LCD to your VGA output or your DVI output and write your own graphics software and absolutely drive a monitor.
We provide the stuff to show the DVD on the VGAs.
Sorry.
Okay. And I don't know if you're asking about this part, but we also supply code to display the DMD code, the DMD output on your VGA stuff. So if you want a more classic look with the DMD, that's possible too. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
When you install the P-ROC, would it have access to the sound ROMs and call-outs and things that are in the existing boards?
So the question is, do we, with the P-ROC board and with our software, have access to existing sound ROMs or perhaps video ROMs that come in machines? And the answer is no. We don't want to step on anyone's copyrights or anything else. Everything you do with the P-ROC board should be, this is the company line at least, should be custom. You need to write your own sounds, you need to write your own video. If you want to access the ROMs yourselves, by all means, figure out a way to do it, but no, we do not provide access to the existing ROMs. However, again, since you're using a computer, it's very easy to play media files, whether it's sound or video or anything else. Yes?
There's a lot of access to existing ROMs already. Is there a way, like, if you were to take your main board out of, like, say, Twilight Zone, and put a P-ROC into it, is there a way you could get, have a way to change it over if you wanted to run your original Twilight Zone ROM with the P-ROC still in?
Yeah, good question. Something I wanted to talk about. I'm glad you brought it up. So the question is, if you take out your CPU board and put in a P-ROC, do you lose the ability to run the original code since it's in a game ROM that runs on the original CPU board? And the answer is that we've written a driver for the PinMain software that will in fact run the original game ROMs, the software copy that's on your computer of that ROM, and will in fact run it on your machine. So yes, you can choose to run in real time the software that you've written, your custom software, or you can run PinMain, and it will work through the P-ROC board. In fact, anyone who's interested in seeing that, we can run that today on Rob's Judge Dredd machine, and I can show you that I can switch back and forth between our custom software and the original Judge Dredd software. It takes 3 seconds to switch over.
So I don't know about everybody else, but one of the big things that I've always wanted to do is literally just change music and sound that's on a game. I'll give you an example. Indiana Jones, in my personal opinion, was one of the best sounding games, really kept you in the theme of the game. Started came out with Pirates of the Caribbean, totally lost it. You could hear it. I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean's got one of the best soundtracks out there in the movie. And to be able to tweak something like that with a tool like this, especially like you mentioned, if you a lot of it's probably in your own program, but to be able to tweak something like that and add that depth and that, that original sound from that movie would just make that game on. And is that, with PinMain, with P-ROC, is that a possibility?
So let me rephrase the question to make sure I have it. You asking, can you take an existing game with their game code and just swap out sound packages, or take an existing sound package and swap out rules?
Right.
It's a similar question to the question about do you have access to the sound ROMs, and directly the answer is no. There are tricks you can use to do these kind of things, but the P-ROC itself does not give you access. Because you're swapping out the CPU board, you're getting rid of your original game code and your sound ROMs. Using PinMain, like I said, there are tricks you can do to access that stuff, but officially we do not support that. Don't even encourage it. Yes.
Limitations on the board, since the beginning of computers, we always run into limitations with how much sound we put on the machine, how much data is we talking external routes here, we talking microchip code.
Okay, so the question is, are there limits to the amount of sound information you can build into your machine, or video clips? Are you limited by some sort of a memory limit? And the answer again is, since you're using a computer, your sound files, your video files, your game code, all that will be sitting on your hard drive. So you're limited by the size of the computer you put together. If you want to use a little tiny computer with a little SD flash card, then you're limited by the size of that flash card. If you want to use a 1 terabyte hard drive, then you can fill it up with as much as you can mount. Good question. Anybody else? Yes.
The drive DMP, what do you have to some about that allows you to use the rates, something that gets in that matrix size?
Oh, yeah. So I believe the question is, do we have tools to help you generate content for the DMD? That is a good question. We have a script that makes it pretty easy to convert like single image files. And I believe we have a script that, it's been a while since I've touched it, but I believe we have a script that does like QuickTime movies or whatever. That's a possibility. And we also have a tool called DMD Animator, which only runs on the Mac. Unfortunately for the non-Mac users, but so that's out there. And so that kind of, does that answer? I think that kind of sums up the tools that we have.
I have a question to expand on that. Could you, since it just loads frame by frame, could you just have like a series of maybe like PNG or JPG images displayed?
So could you have just a series of PNG or JPEG images to show whatever you want to? Right now, to do it, you would need to convert them to the .dmd format. But if you're handy with C, I can easily imagine that you could make it a whole lot faster and play them directly from the PNG and JPEG files. Or even like a QuickTime movie. Yes?
What are the chances of Stern adopting all this as their basic finding?
I can't comment on that. No, I'm not implying that anything's happening. I don't know. That's a good question.
How do they know what they're using now?
David Jones. Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, what are the odds of Stern adopting any of this? And we have no idea, unfortunately.
So basically, we could take, let's say, a P-ROC or your system and maybe a Rotten Dog WPC driver board, and maybe some of the soundboards of Rotten Dogs put together for WPC and gel this together. Or do I have to find an old WPC game that's dead and resurrect it?
So the question is, when you're putting together, I guess, a homebrew machine or you're building a machine, do you have to scavenge from existing machines and basically kill one machine to create a new one? Or can you put together a homebrew machine buying off-the-shelf parts, whether it's a power driver board or transformer or whatever from somebody else? And the answer is you can do that. In fact, I have a couple customers who are doing just that are buying, I believe they're buying Stern White Star power driver boards, getting the transformer, and putting it together. The other interesting thing is the P-ROC has, I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but there's a connector over here that looks like a hard drive connection for power. And in fact, it is. So you can power the P-ROC board using a PC power supply. And if you want to build your own machine, you could theoretically, if you're comfortable building your own driver circuits, you could connect it to an off-the-shelf power supply to supply 512, maybe high voltage, 70 volts or something for your coils. You don't have to use a transformer. I mean, there's no connection on the P-ROC board itself that accepts the transformer output, so you would have to either convert that transformer using your power driver board or connecting it directly to a DC power supply. But you have a number of options on how you build your homebrew machine. You just need to figure out what works best for you and how much money you want to spend. Anybody else? No? Well, thanks for coming. Hope you've learned a little bit about how you can build custom software. Again, we will be most of the day over in Rob's classic pinball area. We have a Judge Dredd machine over there that he's letting us borrow. Come by, look at the latest software, play a couple games, see that it's real. You can, in fact, do this. We have, in fact, done it. Ask whatever questions pop up, but feel free. And like I said earlier, I'll have some boards for sale if anyone's interested in buying one. Take them home and give them a shot. I have them available. So, thanks for coming.